It's one of the world's smallest and most vulnerable countries, battered by the Pacific Ocean. 25 square kilometers of coral islands that sit so low in the surf, it seems that one large wave could swamp them. The 9 islands of Tuvalu are spread out over nearly 1 million square kilometers of ocean, far away from the shipping lanes and the tourist routes of the world's airlines. Here, in a lagoon formed eons ago in the crater of a volcano, you can still catch fish with your bare hands and swim in water that's 6 different shades of blue. From a distance, a tropical paradise, but up close, a biosystem in crisis. Government environmentalist Matteo Teccanini is watching his homeland disappear before his eyes.
According to the data that we received from the meteorological station, they said that there's a change in climate, and maybe that's could be the cause of this erosion. The sea is rising, and the winds are not normal at the meantime.
It's much windier than when he was a child, he says, and there are stronger and more frequent hurricanes, a more powerful surf. Parts of Tuvalu are vanishing all the time under the force of high winds, the coastline eroding. Instead of sandy beaches, exposed coral and rock.
Before in its normal stage, well, it's got a short distance of beach, just like this beach, and few trees on it, birds. But now you can't see anything, any living creature there.
Here, trees 100 years old are being ripped out by the roots in Pacific storms. As the roots go, so does the soil, and then the vegetation, until there's nothing left to hold back the tides. The earth is so lacking in nutrients that it can only sustain mangrove and coconut trees. Scientists don't know for sure if there's a link between global warming and higher sea levels, but if there is, they say Tuvalu, just a few meters above the ocean surface, will be one of the first countries to disappear. At the recent Earth Summit in Buenos Aires, Prime Minister Bickenbu Peniu said Tuvalu is a victim of the industrialized nations.
All this climate change phenomenon is God's way of reminding the people of the world to live more spiritually and less materialistically, and to remind the leaders that the world doesn't belong to them, it belongs to God. Tomorrow they'll die, and this world will continue to exist.
So you'd think there wouldn't be too much to sing about in this isolated corner of the globe. Climate change is only one of Tuvalu's problems. There's also underdevelopment, overcrowding, and a lack of jobs. Tuvaluans, however, remain optimistic as they celebrate their 2,000-year-old culture.
Tuvalu will continue to exist. We will never come under the sea.
That hope springs from faith and from something else.
www.internet.tv.
In a downtown Toronto office, on the other side of the earth, a handful of entrepreneurs are working on a rescue plan. So far, all they have are a few computer terminals, a marketing plan, and a name, .TV Corporation. They're gambling that .TV can earn hundreds of millions of dollars in the next 10 years.
Thanks, Lisa. Bye-bye.
Even though most Tuvaluans know almost nothing about the internet, it could turn out to be their salvation, says .TV president Jason Chapnick.
They're going to be doing great from this, and really, you know, they look at this as being, you know, manna from heaven, and that we, you know, they feel that you know, our coming together was really destiny.
This .TV, it just came out of heaven. It's you know, the fact is that .TV is an asset, and it is an asset that's worth millions of money.
Tuvalu hasn't seen any of the money yet, but here's how the scheme is supposed to work. When the internet started, every country was assigned an internet country code of 2 letters. For example, Canada is .ca, Britain is .uk. Each country uses its letters to help list and identify its internet users. And Tuvalu, one of the world's least known countries, got the best known letters, TV. That vaulted Tuvalu into the internet big leagues. By international convention, every country has the exclusive rights to give away or to sell the letters, called a domain, that make up its address. For example, the program you're watching is called At Discovery Canada, but it's written at discovery.ca. If we wanted to change the address to @discovery.tv, we'd have to pay Tuvalu, or its agents, a registration fee plus annual fees. The key to commercial success on the internet is, how do you get people to log on to your website? The answer, give yourself a catchy address that people will recognize and remember. Entrepreneurs like Chapnick are gambling that more people will want to buy rights to those letters. And he says the letters TV could be the biggest draw in the new industry.
Television is, understood around the world. .tv makes sense to people all around the world. They know what it is automatically. There's no explanation needed there. So, really that's what it comes down to, is that people are attracted to it, and therefore companies want to market under it.
Spin the globe and you can find many more countries with catchy letters to sell. Turkmenistan is TM, the international symbol for trademark. Tonga is TO, appealing letters for a Toronto company. The music industry might want the letters CD, which belong to the Democratic Republic of Congo, or maybe FM, the federal states of Micronesia. The list goes on, a whole alphabet of potential riches. They're all there as you scroll across the computer screens of new companies who act as agents, registering internet addresses for these countries. .tv Corporation may be just starting out, but 3-year-old NetNames is already a veteran of the name registry industry. W.R. Mann is president of the New York-based company.
It's secondary to your business card, having a phone number and a fax number. You need an internet address. Your direct marketing programs go through the internet.
Corporations big and small are racing to register their internet addresses around the world for marketing reasons and to safeguard their names and trademarks. Even Mickey Mouse is doing it. The Disney Corporation has more than 500 different sites worldwide. Gisèle Lejonnet keeps track of them all.
Well, you have to protect your own name and make sure nobody else is going to register Disney and Antigua or wherever. And then Disney has a lot of different products, movies, and then to do merchandising or for whatever reason, they'll decide to have one specific site per movie, for instance, per blockbuster movie.
The internet is still largely unregulated, but registering your company name is the nearest thing available to trademark protection. If you don't have that protection, it can cost you. You may think this is a website for cars. It isn't. General Motors discovered too late that someone else was using their name on the internet to sell compact discs. This wouldn't have happened if the car company had registered its name first. NetNames retains dozens of trademark lawyers around the world.
If you don't handle the trademark issues and register your domain names on the internet, you're going to fail. And the easiest way to protect is to first register. It's much cheaper than having some sort of huge legal search and destroy operations running over the world, burning millions of dollars.
When we come back, who wants their .tv? Will the money get to Tuvalu ahead of the rising tides? Before the break, we told you about a big problem sweeping through paradise. Tuvalu is slowly disappearing. Changing winds and tides could sink the Pacific Islands, but the people there have a plan to keep their country on the map by selling to the world what no one on the island wants, the TV that was given to Tuvalu.
Paul Makapetris works in California's Silicon Valley. At the dawn of the internet, Makapetris sat down at his computer and devised the system by which the internet recognizes the people who use it. Before he came along, internet addresses were just long strings of numbers. But as the system mushroomed, people needed something simpler and easier to remember. He invented the Domain Name System, or DNS, a kind of universal post office for the computer world. The domain name is the last part of an internet address, like .com or .tv. You can make up your own web address using any name you want, but what comes after the dot is like the postal code. Without it, the internet couldn't function. But no one imagined just how the demand would grow.
The wildest estimates at the start were on the order of 10, 20 million tops domain names out there. And we've 2 or 3 times that now.
Suddenly, a whole new market appeared, worth billions of dollars. Between the years 1994 and 1997, the number of computers logging onto the internet increased by a factor of 8. In the same period, the number of domain names increased by a factor of 40. These domain names represent millions of consumers now within easy reach. Patricia says this creates a whole new dimension in marketing.
An easy way to explain that is that there's a drug company, for example, that went out and registered disease.com for all values of disease. So if you go look at diarrhea.com and headache.com and so forth and so on, all of a sudden people own multiple domain names instead of owning like a single name for their organization.
That's what makes having the right domain name so important.
People have already paid 6 figures for some domain names, so that I don't see, I'm not sure whether or not the .tm domain is going to catch on or whatever, but I'm sure that there's sums of money like that out there. Wish I owned it all.
Alta Vista, a big internet company, recently had to pay out $3.5 million just to buy its internet address from a small ski shop with the same name. That kind of thing convinces internet entrepreneurs that they're at the threshold of a new kind of gold rush.
We look at these search engines, which are at, I think, $1 billion for InfoSeek, over $2 billion for Excite. Yahoo is a 15 plus $16 billion company. Network Solutions, which currently runs a .com, .net, and .org. They've been as high as $600 million. So you're looking at incredible amounts of belief in the vision of internet companies.
A lot of that money may flow into Tuvalu once .tv begins raising the cash it anticipates. But until then, those big dollars and those big domain names don't mean much to the average citizen. Here, the only name that's important is your first name. And a coconut is a lot more real than a computer. Civil servants like Matteo are just learning the basics of computer software. He has no access to the internet or email. In that sense, he's way behind the times, but he doesn't care. What he does care about is what the changing weather is doing to his country.
You can notice from these rocks, there are white rocks. That means there's erosion been occurred over here.
Scientists say that the effects of climate change on the oceans are still largely unknown, and that it's by no means certain that the seas are rising because of an accumulation of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. But on these coral islands, there's a growing belief that whatever the future brings, Tuvalu will be better able to deal with it, providing the internet lives up to its promise of newfound riches.